Welcome, everyone. This is Eric L. Dunavant, founder and president of Paradiem. This is our webinar on understanding Medicare. And I'm expecting to learn as much as you are. So because of that, I've brought in some experts. I've got Tyler Fussell, who is the founder of the Fussell Group, and then Sandy Johnson, who is one of her lead agents. And I'm going to ask some questions, but I'm going to let them guide a lot of where our conversation goes.
Sounds
We've already
good.
had some good visits this morning, kind of understanding some of the changing dynamics. I think it's going to be important for you to understand.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I just want to remind everyone who's on the webinar, you've got a chance to ask questions. But as far as the SEC is concerned in recording, we can't record the answer to questions. So we'll save all of your questions until the end, and then we'll stop the recording and we'll have a Q&A session. And then before we get started, I've got to make all the attorneys and lawyers happy out there, so let me read our disclosures. Paradiem LLC is a registered investment advisor. Information contained in this presentation is for informational purposes only and should not be considered investment advice or recommendations. Advice may only be provided by entering into an advisory agreement with an advisor or with an agent. And so with that out of the way, thank
Yes.
you both for being here.
Don't you love regulations?
I'm sure you have to navigate a lot.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Oh,
So, before we get into actually talking about Medicare, I'm going to give just time for a little time for people to show up. How does someone get into? I mean, so we all kind of follow our passions. How does someone get passionate about following a business into Medicare?
I started working for Humana back in 2008, 2009, and I was a Humana agent for about 4 years, and I love seniors.
Okay.
I was super close to my grandmother, and I am a history buff. I love everything history, and so to spend time with people who are in that senior realm, and I'm very careful how I say that because I'm getting close to that.
We're getting really close
We're
to
really
that.
getting close to that as well. So I'm starting to call it the seasoned realm
Okay,
instead of
I like
seniors.
that. I
We're
like that.
seasoned.
I like
We're
that a lot.
seasoned well. Anyway, I just really thoroughly enjoy talking to them and spending time with them. And unfortunately, I personally don't get to do that very often anymore because this brain of mine is full of all other kind of cobwebs and nonsense of owning a business.
Yep.
But even when they come in to meet with one of our agents and I get to meet them and talk to them a few minutes, so that's how I got involved. I was working with Humana, and I loved it. I loved working with the 65 and older population. And so then at the time I had a business partner, and we decided to step out and start our own agency. And we grew from 5 people in 2012 to 2013. We had 13.
Wow.
By 2014, we just started expanding. Then 2015, we're like, okay, we don't want everybody. This is way too much. So we started cutting back. And then it just kind of has grown organically. We're really, really blessed. God definitely has shown favor to the Fussell Group with blessing us with amazing agents.
That's awesome.
It is a passion of mine that when I meet with people, when somebody becomes an agent, I want to sit face to face. I want to see who you are. I want to know, I want to have a conversation with you. I want to know what you're about because sometimes the over 65 population is our most taken advantage of, and I have a particular passion for not letting that happen.
Got it.
And so I'm very picky with who we choose. We don't just let anybody slap a Fussell Group logo on their shirt. So yeah.
So along those lines, and I'm not ignoring you.
Yeah.
We're going to get to you in a second. But usually when I find someone starting a business, they look at what's currently in the industry and they feel like something's broken or something's off, and they feel like there's a place inside of that they can really build a niche and solve. So when you went out and did that, what was the place inside of kind of Medicare planning that you felt like you could bring an element that the others weren't?
So my niche was more for the agent.
Okay.
My niche was to be that bridge between the agent and the carrier,
Okay.
because it was really just Humana and People's Health that were in the area. But brokers were just starting to come out of the woodworks, independent brokers, not being a career representative for the specific health plan, but being more of an independent broker like we are now.
Yep.
And so I felt I could be that bridge. And Humana did an excellent training. We were sent away for 3 weeks. We went to Louisville, Kentucky, and we didn't come home. And you had to make a 90 or better every Friday on your test, or if not, you were sent home.
Wow.
So back when I started with them, their training was impeccable, and I learned a lot from them. So I knew coming out that I had a lot to give to a broker.
Okay.
And so that was my niche, was I was going to be that bridge that gapped that space.
Fantastic.
And so it did. It was very much about, we used the E3 model, which was educate, empower, and elevate. And that is how we've built the platform, was through, we strongly believe through education, not only with the agent, but the client, you are empowering them and elevating them to make the best decision for their health care.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
That's amazing. Sandy, what about, I mean, again, how do you find a passion and a career in this area? How did you get here?
Pretty much the same story. I grew up an only child.
Okay.
And I was often asked the question, "Oh, you a mama's boy?" I said, "No, I'm worse. I'm a grandmama's boy." That
I
in and
feel
of
that.
itself-
I feel that.
My grandmother and I did everything. We watched baseball together.
Wow.
My mother didn't care about baseball, and we did a lot of things. Just the fact that every day we dialogued. I took her on rides and things of that nature.
Yep.
Now let's fast forward as far as Medicare is concerned. There is a gap between their understanding and what is reality. So often I've found that they're relying on commercials, friends, family when it comes to understanding Medicare. They mean well, but
Yeah.
a lot of times there's a big gap between what they really know and what they really know.
Right.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself, for me, it was a opportunity to make sure that they understood. And the thing about understanding, it's like this. I can say it, and this person understood this, but this person says, no, that's not what he meant. He meant this. Well, my job, again, was to make sure that I took this understanding, and bridge that gap and say, no, you both are correct, but here's the part that you're missing, making sure that they're clear. And I have friends, I have family, all in that same age group, and they are the most exposed and taken advantage of, and I never liked that. So I wanted to make sure that I was that liaison for them.
Well, okay, so we've got you both here
Yeah.
right now, which
Yes.
is exactly, I mean, I'm going to imagine my audience is sitting in the same place. It's like, we don't know. So let's start with, maybe even with the basics. Like, let's imagine that we're just inviting everybody in for a conversation
Absolutely.
about Medicare.
Yes.
Where should we start?
You want to take that? Okay. So I would first start with find a local agent, whether it's with the Fussell group or it's with another agency out there. Look, the 1-800 numbers on TV about they can get you this free this and they can get you that. Please don't call them. Please. And the reason I say that is it is a call center. You're calling many times. You're calling it a call center in Puerto Rico or something of that nature, or they are just sitting somewhere in South Dakota in a call center and have no idea what is going on in the state of Louisiana. They don't understand how to say your last name. They don't know who your doctors are. They don't understand the networks. And so they're throwing you in a plan that is what they're going to make the most commission off of that day. Whereas if you're sitting with an independent agent that will literally look at your situation, they sit down with you, they have conversations, or at least they should be having a kitchen table or a coffee shop conversation with you face to face about what are your concerns. Let's talk about a little bit about your health situation. Where are you? Where are you comfortable with monthly? And then explaining to you what a Medicare supplement is, what a Medicare Advantage plan is, why do you need a prescription drug plan, how does all of this marry together, where your holes are, because let's face it, every health plan has holes.
Yep.
There is no perfect health plan that covers everything. Even a Medicare supplement has holes. So how do we fill those gaps? How do we fix those holes?
So what age should we start having this conversation?
I'd say 64.
64, right.
64.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm 64, and I come into the office. I still don't know anything.
Right.
Where do we start? I understand you want to fill the gaps, but maybe I don't even know supplements or Advantage or
So we're
whatever.
going-
So
these-
where?
So I was going to say first and foremost, Sandy is a teacher at heart. And
Yeah.
I think you will find that with all of our agents. They have that teacher heart. So they're going to literally explain to you from the
So
very
can we
beginning.
do that right now?
Yes.
Can we start right now and just kind of let's talk a little bit about what's out there.
All right. Well, if you're turning 65, as stated, 64 is typically the perfect age because it gives us a strong window. First and foremost, if you're turning 65, you have a window of 7 months, 3 months before your 65th birthday, the month of your birthday, and 3 months after. That's called your initial enrollment period to get those things done as far as enrolling in Medicare. But let's back it up just a bit. You come into the office, you know nothing about Medicare. I'm going to sit down with you. I'm going to ask you certain questions in regards to, first and foremost, how much do you know about Medicare initially? Some will say a little bit, some will say my family said this, and we say, okay, let's just start from square one. First and foremost, you want to, typically your Medicare is going to be for folks who are 65 or reaching 65, or if they've worked past that point, that they're going to be retiring if it's past the 65 mark. We're going to look at that as well. I'm going to ask clearly, what are your expectations of health care? What is your end goal as far as what you want to cover? What's going to let you sleep at night as it pertains to your coverage? Then we're going to look at medications. We're going to look at doctors, things that are important to the client first and foremost. Then we're going to make sure that they understand with Medicare, you have to enroll in your parts A and B first, and I'm going to explain parts A and B because the letters start to really get confusing. First and foremost,
Alphabet soup.
Yes, absolutely,
Alphabet soup.
absolutely. Your part A is your hospitalization, and your part B are your doctor visits and your medical issues or your medical portion of your coverage, and that covers 80%. Sounds terrific. 80% is a big chunk. Until you realize how much medical costs are, and your 20% exposure is huge.
Yes.
It is huge. I mean, perfect examples. Let's say the average surgery is $150,000. 80%, they're going to cover a big $120,000. Well, can you pay $30,000 out of your pocket? That's where we then get to the point of, okay, we need something to help offset these costs. And then we actually introduce the two options that are available for our customers, making sure that they understand each option, all the components of those options, to see what's going to, again, let them sleep well at night, making sure that they are clear on the choices and making sure that they're clear that they're, even with choice A or B or whichever is to your liking, there's still gaps. I'm here to cover those gaps because we want as few financial exposures as possible.
Absolutely. I like to say the initial appointment with us when you're 64 or you're about to turn 65
Right.
usually takes about 2 hours.
Okay.
And we sit down because we're doing some fact finding. We're answering your questions. We are explaining the alphabet soup of Medicare. And you may or may not choose your plan that day. Sandy may say, okay, here's option A, here's option B. I like to say we give you chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, and Neapolitan all swirled into one. And then you can go home and decide which taste, which flavor you like the best. And then we come back and enroll you. We like to give you a little bit of a breathing room. Write down your questions, come back, let us answer your questions. Very rarely is it a one-stop, come in, pick your plan, and close. Because we want you to think about this, make sure you're comfortable with it, and then we move forward. And so, like Sandy said, it's sitting down and explaining to you, what does Medicare Part A cover? What does Medicare Part B cover? What are you wanting to spend? You know, Medicare supplements are very costly. Medicare Advantage currently is a zero premium with many plans, but you have copays. So you may be coming off of an individual plan with copays, you would roll right into a Medicare Advantage. There are pros and cons to both plans. I forever hear Medicare Advantage is the devil. No, it's not. It's managed care. But you're currently on a managed care plan. If you are on individual health or a group employer plan, you are on a managed care plan. So you're just rolling right into that. And what people really don't understand is with a Medicare supplement, while it helps pick up that 20% that Medicare does not cover, it is expensive. And if you don't get in at a certain time frame, you will have to go through underwriting. And then on top of that, you still have gaps. Medicare doesn't cover eyes, ears, or teeth. Medicare doesn't pay for if you have cancer and you have to go to MD Anderson and your spouse has to take off work, and it doesn't cover your out of work, and it doesn't cover your bills, and it may not cover experimental treatments. And so there's all these other things, all these other exposures that are out there that we like to uncover with you to make sure that you're covered across the board.
So you talked a little bit about it. I think that there's a lot of confusion around a Medicare supplement versus Medicare
Yes.
Advantage. What are the differences? You kind of were leaning into it, but what is the
Yeah, so
difference?
let's talk about that. This is a huge passion of mine because there is a reason there's two plans. There is a reason there's a Medicare supplement and a Medicare Advantage. Both are great plans. It depends on where your pain points are and what is important to you. Let's start with a Medicare supplement. That Medicare supplement picks up the 20% that Medicare does not cover.
Okay.
Okay? But you still have to get a Medicare prescription drug plan that goes along with it because a Medicare supplement does not cover prescription drugs.
Okay.
So you now are paying a Medicare Part B premium, a Medicare supplement premium, and a Medicare prescription drug plan premium. That can typically run you upwards of $250 to $300 a month, and it goes up yearly, both your prescription drug plan and your Medicare supplement. And you know what? Medicare has been increasing yearly as well. So those costs continue to go up. So a lot of times we have people say, well, I want to travel, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want the freedom to be able to go to where I want to go. And we're like, okay, let's look at a Medicare supplement. They'll stay in there for a good bit of time until it gets too expensive, or we'll get the phone calls of we're not traveling anymore, we're just going to stay local. I think it's time that we want to switch to a Medicare Advantage plan. A Medicare Advantage plan is managed care. It is an HMO or a PPO. I will say your insurance carriers, your Humanas, your United Healthcares, your People's Health, your Blue Cross Blue Shields, Kaisers, all of them, Cigna, they are, because of the changes that came about from the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, they are now shifting gears from PPOs and going back to true managed care with an HMO. There are still some PPOs out there. However, they are coming, a lot of them are, premiums are going much higher, copays are going much, they're less sexy to the individual. Okay. They're going back more the HMO. So let's stick kind of in that mindset that a Medicare Advantage is kind of wrapped in that HMO box, chassis, so to speak. So you have a primary care doctor, you have specialists. In the state of Louisiana, you don't necessarily need a referral to see a specialist. However, the plans are now coming out that they're asking you to get referrals just to make sure that they stay within the network.
Okay.
But it's very much just like the individual health plan you are on or the group health plan that you're on. Right now they have zero premiums. Some have low premiums of $20, $50. But you have copays. You have copays when you see a specialist. You have copays when you see a primary care, when you go to the hospital. When you have testing, they have a copay. The other caveat with a Medicare Advantage plan is your prescription drug plan is tied into it. So you're not having to purchase that separate.
Okay. So if you've got Medicare A and B.
Yep.
And then if you've got Advantage, then that covers the other 20. Does the Advantage cover the other 20%?
Yes. So
it does. That covers the other 20%, but then you've got to pay the copays, for
Correct.
the care you're receiving.
Correct.
Okay.
So what we like to call Medicare Advantage is kind of that Cox bundle or Spectrum bundle package, right? You're getting your Part A, your Part B, and your Part D all wrapped up in what we call Part C, which is Medicare Advantage.
Okay. But there's no premiums for this. Is that what
There are some that have zero premiums. Most HMOs have a zero premium. The PPOs have premiums. But we are finding now with changes, you will have some HMOs with smaller premiums as well.
So this is where sitting down with someone and kind of going through
Yes,
and trying
yes.
to figure out which
Now,
plans and
You're not going to have the $150 premium on a Medicare Advantage like you have on a Medicare Supplement. You may have a $20, $30, $50 premium max right now, but you're not going to have that Medicare Supplement premium, which is running $150 and up.
okay. So Sandy, but so again, this is trying to understand.
Yes. Right.
Why in this instance, what is the advantage of the supplemental versus Medicare Advantage? Because again, you're only paying for care. You're maybe paying a little bit of a premium. You're only paying for care when you use it.
Right.
What's the real advantage of the Medicare Supplement versus just going with Medicare Advantage?
Typically, you have someone who says, you know what, I do not want to go through the hassle of the copays. I do not want to deal with the referrals. I want the autonomy of being able to go wherever I want, as
Okay.
opposed to having to get a referral for this or making sure that someone is in or out of network. And that in and of itself is a strong attractor for those who want Medicare supplements. Also those who travel a lot. They want to make sure that if they're traveling, that they know that they're covered.
There's not a network.
Correct.
Most Medicare supplements do not have a network.
None.
Oh, okay.
There are a few that do, but most do not.
So if you're on Medicare Advantage and I'm just kind of pulling some pieces out, and you're traveling, what happens if you need care?
So it will cover. That does have emergency coverage.
Okay.
So typically it will cover an emergency room. It will also cover a
Urgent care.
urgent care. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. I was about to call it a doc in the box. An urgent care. Couldn't get it fast enough. So it will cover that.
Okay.
Let's say, and this is what I used to always tell people when I was giving seminars. With a Medicare, original Medicare does not cover out of the country.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So, Medicare supplements do not cover out of the country. Medicare Advantage sometimes has a little bit of out-of-country coverage, not much. That's why you always need travel insurance. Guess what? The Fussell Group covers travel insurance, too.
Okay. Wow.
But we have learned that we need to put that in there when our
But that's
clients are
something
traveling.
if people are thinking about traveling and
Yes.
they're on Medicare.
If they're traveling out of the country.
Out of the country, it's not something most people would think
What
of.
I used to tell people all the time is a lot of these, your islands that you go to, they don't have insurance. Some of them barter with cows, chickens, turkeys, and donkeys.
Right.
And so you need to make sure you're covered. Even your individual health plan, your under 65 health plan, many, many times does not have out-of-country coverage.
Okay.
So that's why if you're traveling, and look, travel insurance is really inexpensive. So that's why we tell people, don't worry about that. If you're in the country and you're traveling on Medicare, of course you will have coverage. Under a Medicare Advantage plan, it has hospitalization and urgent care. In the fact that I like to say all the time, I'm traveling with my husband, he has a heart attack. We get him to the hospital, we get him stabilized, we call the insurance company or we call the insurance agent. Hey, my husband, John, had a heart attack. I am here in this hospital. Is this in network? If not, can you help me? Many times they say stabilize him and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
But they will they'll take care of you. You're never going to be stranded without care.
Okay. So we've been talking about a lot. I mean, this is all really good stuff. What are the most costly mistakes, Sandy, you see people make with Medicare?
Real life example. I have a 92-year-old client. She and her sister retired in 2000. Both extremely healthy, did not take any medications at all. Thought it was an option to get a prescription drug plan. Did not get a prescription drug plan until 14 years later. Well, now there's a penalty. Now let's explain. A penalty as it pertains to Medicare is not a late fee. Late fee is a one-time deal. A penalty is a lifetime deal.
Yes, it is.
So there's
Really?
a 14-year penalty for she and her sister for not adding a prescription drug plan. It is a must that you have a prescription drug plan, whether you take medications or not. Her understanding was it was optional and no one explained it. That's where having a local agent would
Yeah.
have been paramount and saved them
Yes.
a lot of money.
The
So,
other thing I find is some people think I don't need to take my Medicare. I don't need to take Medicare Part B. It's going to cost me money. That's a huge mistake.
Yes.
Because Medicare Part A, while it covers hospitalization, you're not going to have coverage for doctors. You're not going to have coverage for testing. You're not going to have, and then when you decide to take your Part B, you get a penalty.
That stays with you.
It stays with you.
forever.
So let's follow this line of thinking. A lot of our not all of our clients live in Louisiana, so we make sure we're clear on that.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's fine. Yeah, and we work throughout the United States.
Yes.
But also, I think something that would be helpful is, so you're saying that at 64, start having this conversation. But
Yeah.
one of the things that's going on right now, we have a lot of our clients are business owners.
Okay.
Yes.
And own a business.
Yes.
Okay? And so it's not uncommon we're finding people are working longer and longer
Yes.
these days. So what are the rules or how does it work? So say you're on a corporate plan
Yeah.
because you own a business or you're working through that. What's the transition or what does that look like for
That's
a
a great-
business owner? And how should a business owner be thinking about
That's
this?
a great question. You want to take it or you want?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're on a corporate plan and you are Medicare age, of course, as you stated, you have the Part A, which you would take. You've already earned that. You've earned that over, you have your 40 quarters equivalent to 10 years of paying into the system. But your Part B, if you have coverage, you do not have to take your Part B immediately because you have health coverage. So, in essence, you get your Part A, you continue to work, you continue to stay on that employer or corporate plan that you're on, if that is financially great for you or it works well for you. Sometimes we have to look at both sides of
Okay.
it. Sometimes it's okay, this is good, but this is better. But let's say, just to say for the example, that they stay on that plan. When they do decide, okay, I'm getting ready to hang it up, I'm going to play with my grandkids, whatever the case may be, now you need to now activate your Part B. Now you're going to notice, and typically when someone starts Medicare, their start dates for the Part A and Part B are the same. In this scenario, the Part B start date's going to be different because they had health coverage and did not need to actually add their Part B, which, by the way, they are not penalized. for
Okay, that
that.
was gonna be my next
That
question.
is no
Is there a
penalty.
penalty? Okay.
No, because that's
They've had
the caveat.
It's the credible
Credible
drug
coverage.
coverage. Credible drug coverage, credible coverage that Medicare deems credible, they would not be penalized. But I do want to jump in here real quick.
Sure.
If it is less than 20 employees on the health plan, they have to take their Medicare Part B.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So it depends on how many employees you've
Correct.
got
Correct.
working for you.
Correct. If you are truly a small business, you have to take that Medicare Part B, or you will be penalized. If it is over 20, if it is a Chevron, a Texaco,
Sure,
or whatever.
sure.
Texaco is still around?
No.
No. Okay. Chevron, Shell. That,
Yeah.
I'm aging myself.
It could be still. I just don't think it
I
is.
don't know. I don't think it is either.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself. Yeah. Anyway, you do have to take your Medicare Part B if it's 20 and under.
What are there any other big mistakes? I mean, that one seems like one you, as a small business owner, you could think, oh well, I'm covered because of my health care, and then end up.
So let me talk about this too. I'm going to talk about IRMAA.
Okay.
So IRMAA is when you make over a certain threshold, you are now charged a increased premium in Medicare
Yep.
and your prescription drug plan,
Yeah.
right? So I'm sure most of your clients are falling into that area.
Yeah,
I
we've
would
been.
think.
I mean, it's been harder because we've talked about this. We had our webinar on taxes earlier
Yeah.
this year. The markets have been really, really strong, and without a lot of a down market, it's kind of hard to offset taxes. And so we've had people making a lot more money than they've been making. The returns have been quite substantial over the last 3 years, and so we have been getting some
hits with
people
IRMAA.
like, oh my goodness, this IRMAA
I
thing
know,
is a
because
big
you're
deal.
going from, what is the Medicare Part B premium right now?
202.90.
202.90, and it can go up to
$683 per month.
Yes,
Yeah.
for a Medicare Part B. Here's the thing with that. They're going to look back 2 years. Medicare's going to look back 2 years. So if we're 2026, they're going back to 2024 to see what your income was. So if your income starts changing once you retire, by 2028, you should be able to get your IRMAA knocked down.
So it's 2 years worth of tracking of getting it to come back down. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That's an important factor.
Yep. Write that note and make that.
No, I've got that on the note right here. One of the things I guess I would ask on here, because I'm looking at this is talking, and you can't see my notes. This says
No,
percentage
I don't have my
of,
glasses.
No, but it says percentage of cost going from 25% at the lowest, this is on the IRMAA chart, saying up to like 35% at the next bracket and all the way up to 85%. Do you know what is that referring to? Do you know?
I would assume it is I would assume it's the cost of their Medicare Part B
Right.
going up that way.
Oh, okay,
Right.
got it. It's
Yeah.
an increase, how much of an
Yes,
increase you
increase.
start
Yeah.
to see at
Yeah.
the next, okay.
next level, right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Wow, what have we not talked about
Oh,
on
let's
this
see.
front? Oh, you know what I do? I know what I want to, you've got something, but I do have something. We were talking about this before. I want to talk a little bit about commissions.
Yes.
And
The bad
important-
breath of commissions.
Yeah, I know. I want to talk a little bit about that and because I think that's important for people to understand. But before we do that, did you have something else you wanted to go
No,
over?
let's go for it.
So one of the things that we were talking about before we got on is that, anyone that you sit down with deserves to make a livable wage.
Correct.
Right? They deserve they
Correct.
deserve to work. But one of the things that is changing, you were telling me, I didn't know this, is what is it? The Medicare products no longer have any commission.
So prescription drug plans,
Okay.
Medicare prescription drug plans, most of them do not have commissions any longer.
Okay.
There are still commissions under the Medicare supplement and the Medicare Advantage plan. But I do want to say this to your clients out there. Agents are paid by the carriers. You should not be paying a fee
Yep.
to someone helping you with a Medicare sales agent helping you with your plan. Ever. You should not be writing them a check. If it is a Medicare supplement and there is a premium, or even a Medicare Advantage with a premium, they will draft that through your Social Security check or your bank account. You should not be writing a check to an insurance agent
that's
that
good.
represents Medicare health plans. And if you are, then you need to call the Department of Insurance and file a complaint. It is illegal and it is unethical. On the next front, when it comes to commissions, our commissions come from the carriers.
Got it.
They are a set commission. So on a Medicare Advantage plan, we make X amount of money for turning 65. We make X amount of money if it's somebody that is coming in, such as an SCP. They're moving. They're coming from another state and moving into Louisiana, or they're moving from Louisiana to Colorado. That's a move. Maybe they didn't have Medicaid, but now they qualify for Medicaid. Things of certain special elections of that nature, and we have to change their plan. It is a set amount that we are paid from the carrier to enroll them in a plan.
Okay.
One carrier does not pay more than the others.
Right.
It should be
Got
a
it.
straight, even
Got it.
Steven type thing.
Right.
So if you are working with a broker, a ethical broker, they should be offering you or talking to you about both supplements and advantage plans, and they should be looking at your doctors, your networks, your medications, and truly looking at what plan best fits your needs. If they walk in and say, you need to go on this plan, and they know nothing about you, pick up your stuff and walk out.
But
That's
one
like
of the,
somebody coming to you and you saying, you need to invest in this right here, and that's it.
Right. No,
Right?
absolutely. No, that wouldn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
No, it makes
That
no
wouldn't make
sense.
any sense.
So-
But I think it's important, one of the things that we've been talking about here is it's important, I think, an independent agent so that can look at all
Yes.
sorts of,
Health plans.
Yes.
Health
They should
plans
be able to
is-
look across the board for you.
Yes, it's about the client,
Yeah.
period. So
Yes.
as you stated, the actual compensation is the same, so it's never about the company. It's about the fit for the client, what's
Okay.
going to be in their best interest.
Yes.
but this looks like, one of those conversations that you probably shouldn't try and just put into Chat GPT, how I should take my Medicare.
Yeah. I love Chatty. Chatty helps me a lot. She's an assistant of mine at times, but Chatty does not know Medicare. She thinks she knows Medicare, but she doesn't. She's learning. She's learning. But yeah, at this point in time, I would not trust ChatGPT or what's some of the other ones out there?
It's Claude.
Claude and Mr. Claude. I don't think he does either. I really think the best scenario is to sit down with somebody who has been trained, who understands, and can have a serious, compassionate conversation with you.
And this is something we're going to talk about in 3 months on our series here kind of around planning. We're bringing in an attorney.
Yeah.
So many times people have forgotten or don't do legal documents, and we're just hesitant to go sit in that office. This is an appointment that may not be something we want to do, but it's definitely an important conversation. We need to set up an appointment at 64 to go in and sit down with someone and have this conversation.
So we are actually, not we, me, and my broker manager in the Lafayette region, Allison, are creating a presentation, and we're looking for an attorney and a financial consultant, wink, wink. We are creating a program that we want to start offering throughout the state. It is, my parents are aging,
Yep.
so now what?
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's really good.
And I think it needs to be centered from, say, 40 to 60. And what now? We get phone calls all the time from the children of the parents.
Oh, yeah.
Of, my dad's in the hospital, my mom's in the hospital, I don't know what to do. They're telling me they're going to kick them out if, we don't get them into an assisted living, or, where do I go find this? And how am I supposed to know what all of this is? I cannot tell you how many times we get phone calls monthly, weekly about this. And so this has become a passion of mine and of Allison's to create a presentation that it's seriously sitting down with a group of people talking about, this is what you need to know.
Yeah.
It's a hard conversation for the parent to have, because they're giving up some of that control. They're giving up some of that freedom.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they have to. I have lost both of my parents, and my husband has lost both of his parents. But we have gone through the stage of, one father had Parkinson's, my father had cancer, my mom died in her sleep, his stepdad died in his sleep, his mom had dementia. And so we've kind of gone through that gamut of, what do you do?
Yeah.
And okay, now what? And so I'm just super passionate about helping people understand about what's next step. So look, stay tuned. That's coming. And I think we're going to pull him in on it. So
This is something that just came up for me. I'd love to hear from both of you. At 64, you've made your decision. You've chosen everything. Am I stuck? What
No.
happens? What happens if I feel like I made the wrong choice, or it's
that's
like
a great question.
Yes.
like, oh my goodness, this just doesn't feel right. Should I come sit down with someone then as well too? What?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, first of all, one thing that I really cherish about working with the Fussell Group is it's never over once you make your first decision or whatever it may be, because we're going to be in constant contact with you.
Yep.
We're going to just check on you. Hey, how you doing? Birthday comes around. Hey, Christmas comes around. Happy holidays. Absolutely. And every year there's going to be an annual review of your plan.
Yep.
How is it working for you? Is it everything that you want? What are some concerns? So let's say in between you call and say, I think I may want to try the supplement side or the advantage side. Now, there are some things that you must consider if you're outside of that guaranteed issue window, like passing medical underwriting if you go into the supplement side. But on the other hand, if you're going to the other to the Medicare Advantage side, yeah, we can make those choices for you and making sure that they fit what you want.
Right.
So you're never stuck.
You're never stuck. The worst case scenario, you may have to, if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan and you can't go into a Medicare supplement, you may have to sit for that year in that Medicare Advantage plan. But that's what annual enrollment is for, which is October 15th to December 7th.
Okay.
You are able to change plans, and they take effect January 1st. Medicare Advantage plans are cyclical, yearly. So they go January 1st to December 31st. So you can change your plan every year.
Okay. So if you're someone who's here, who's in a plan right now that maybe you don't feel comfortable with, you're not happy with, we've got people you can call.
Absolutely.
So how would people get in touch with you? So what I'm going to do, we'll wrap this up for our recorded portion.
Yes.
Let people know how to get in touch with
Yes.
Tyler, the Fussell Group, or Sandy over there. Even if you're out of state, I think you could give them a call and they
Absolutely.
can direct you to someone that's
Yes,
closer.
we are licensed in most states. So if we can't help you, we can connect you with someone.
So how would people get in touch with you? Because it sounds like everybody who's on here, especially if you don't have someone that you could sit down, should at least be reaching out to you guys.
Absolutely. So you can, of course, we're on the web.
Yes.
You can get us through Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can also give us a call. Our office number is 985-875-7407.
Okay.
We do have a 1-800 number. I just don't know it off the top of my head.
Sandy doesn't either.
I don't know. No. It's an 877 number. But yes, you can get us that way. You can also go to our webpage, which is www.fgiala.com. There's a form there you can fill out, and it goes straight into our email
Okay.
box, and we'll call you back. But I did want to bring this up as well. Yes, so you may not be stuck in your plan, but also realize, I touched on this earlier, there are what we call SEPs, special election periods, that if you are moving, if you qualify for them, we can typically change your plan at that point in time.
Okay. Okay.
So, like I said, somebody's moving from Colorado to Louisiana. Why, I don't know. But Louisiana to Colorado, we can absolutely help with that. So.
Well, and two, I mean, it also sounds like even if you are happy with your plan, sitting down with someone, because you guys are going to take more of a holistic look of what coverage gaps might exist. I think that the number one, we talk about this a lot, what are the unintended consequences of a gap that you didn't know was there?
100%. And I just want to stress the fact that every health plan has gaps. Every health plan has a hole. So be open to listening to when we say, do you have a cancer plan? Do you have a critical illness plan? Let's take a look at how this is going to play into your health coverage. I am very passionate about cancer plans, and one of the reasons I am, we have an agent right now that is 55 years old. Well, she just turned 56. She has stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and I am watching her go through the fight of her life. And the cost outside of the health care coverage is enormous. 53% of the cost of cancer is not covered by your health plan.
Wow. Wow.
53%.
53. Wow. That's a number I did not know.
Yep. 53%.
Wow.
Pretty shocking.
That is. Everyone, thank you
Yes.
so much for joining us.
you.
I hope this has been informative. If you've got any other questions, stay on the line, and we're gonna take a Q&A session in just a minute. For those of you who are watching the recording, be with us June 17th. I'm going to have our Chief Relational Strategist, Taya Lowry, come in, and we're going to talk about how to make an inheritance a blessing instead of a burden. And so that is next month's topic. Stay tuned, and we will have more information out on that. But thank you so much for being with us.
Being with us.
I hope
And letting us be with them.
Yeah, let us be
Absolutely.
with you. I hope you have a blessed day.
Yes.
Thank you.